like a snake, does that mean I'm a woman? Does that mean I'm feminine? When I see a snake, you know, if it's going to do me some harm, I'm going to kill it. It's just that thing. It's just not natural to want to pick it up and pet it. For me. Now, some of you might like snakes, and that's okay. I'm not saying anything wrong, but for me, it's not like petting my little dog outside. All right? I see a snake and want to kill it. Does that make me a woman? No. So there's something different about this than the seed of Satan. What is it? Okay? I believe that these, as we see in the book of Genesis, chapter 6, these giants came from what we know as the angels that came down. And it said they saw in the book of Genesis chapter 6, they saw the women, the sons of men. They saw the women and they thought they were beautiful. And so they had relations with them. Okay? They come down and have relations with them. From them was born these giants, these renowned champions of old. Does that mean they were great warriors? Yes, they were, but it means even more than that. It means that these giants were here as the angels were down on this earth at that point in time to try to help direct men and try to help them do right. They went in and they failed. They could not overcome the flesh. But I'll help you appreciate when Yeshua came to this earth, how he overcame the flesh. Amen? That's a victorious statement right there. And so these angels couldn't even overcome the flesh. And so they went in and they slept with these women, and then from these women were born giants. Now, these giants, I believe, as you study it out, these giants were there, and they caused men to do things more wickedly than a man could even imagine. You might wonder about that, but even look at today. I'm not saying these giants are here today. I'm not saying they're not. But you look at even today, there's a lot of crazy stuff. People are doing the most weird acts of violence, the most weird sins, the most crazy things I've ever seen that I never even thought would see. And I'm not even going to go into that discussion today because there's little ones in here, just some of the grotesque sins that people are committing today. The Bible does say, and I don't want to get off on a little rabbit trail, but the Bible does say that just as in the days of Noah, Jesus said that, in the days of Noah, so shall the days of the coming of the Son of Man. I believe we're living in those days. And this is awesome, folks. I want you to grasp this. These giants were there. They caused men, I believe, to sin more than what they would even think of sinning. Okay? And this is where it says in Genesis chapter 6 that God said, my soul shall not strive with man anymore. As a matter of fact, I'm sorry that I even created him. These people were getting so grotesque in their sins that God said, I don't even want to strive with them anymore. I also believe that these giants were there as Satan's seed to try to disrupt the lineage of Christ, our Messiah. Well, how do you know that, Shannon? Well, the Bible says in the book of Genesis chapter 6 and verse 8 and 9, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. How does that mean anything? You go on, it says that he was perfect in all his generations. Now, how can a man be perfect in all his generations? What that mean? I thought you taught us that all men have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. How could Noah be perfect? Noah wasn't perfect as far as sinless. Noah was perfect in all his generations in that the giants had not infected that lineage yet. If you go back and see the lineage of Noah, all the way back to Adam, there were several people that we recognize in there. Methuselah's in that lineage. Enoch's in that lineage. Seth's in that lineage. Men like that, it talks about that lineage had not been disrupted yet. And this was the lineage that Christ was going to come through. As we read about later on, you can even read it in the book of Matthew, the lineage of Christ. So he was perfect in all his generations. And so that at this time was when God was going to wipe out man and to judge the earth, to judge man on the earth. To prevent this from happening. This was a cleansing. It was going to have to take place. And God did it. We find that in the book of Genesis, chapter 6. And you read it on to the next couple of chapters. Now, these giants, and now that's like a fast forward study information on the giants. Okay? And you might not agree with it. It's not the point. I pray that you study it out and look it up and see it and find victory that Jesus, how he had victory over all these things. Now, these giants were also formidable opponents. if they were looked upon with the eyes of man. Imagine. Getting back to talk about Goliath. The Bible says he was 6 cubits in a span. Now, a span is a half a cubit. A cubit is 18 inches, so obviously a half cubit would be 9 inches, according to a man's measurement. So he's probably somewhere around the height of 9.5 feet. Now, there are other studies that might suggest that he was even taller than that. That he was at least, at the shortest, 9.5 feet tall. Would have been a star in the NBA today, hands down. Amen? So you put your hands up, look, give it to Goliath. He's going to make it, choo, Wolf is still not going to have anything on this guy, okay? 9.5 feet tall. So if you would imagine yourself standing in this room, looking at a man who was as tall as a ceiling, okay? So you'd be standing here. I'm under 6 foot tall. But anyway, I've always wanted to be 6 foot tall. I'm just kidding. But anyway, imagine standing here and you're looking at a guy as tall as a ceiling. It's a big guy. Okay? We're looking at a very formidable opponent. So imagine you're walking up to this guy, and you're out here and you're going, how am I going to beat this guy? Is it even smart to tackle this guy? I don't know. And that's if he was allowed to stand next to him. Okay? If you're allowed to stand next to him, you're like, okay, I'm trying to, want to try to work him over, and it's just not going to happen. Is anybody, I've wrestled around with guys that's taller than me. Fine, I'm sitting here, so I can't pick on him today. But, I've wrestled around with guys that's bigger than me. They can put their hand out like that, and I'm trying to do that. You know what I mean? So it's really difficult. Like, how are you going to beat this guy? The guy's 9.5 feet tall. His arms is probably, I don't know how long mine are, but it's not very long. But this guy's huge. All right? But let's even talk about more than this. This guy is a formidable opponent. 9.5 feet tall just now. I don't know how much he weighs. It doesn't say how much he weighs, but it does say how much his armor weighs. His armor weighs 125 pounds. There's some women in this building today that weigh less than 125 pounds. Becky, I'm not going to get into, I know how much she weighs, I don't know how much anyone weighs, and that is a touchy subject. But let me go there. Jay, you just crossed the line. But just to give you he's got an armor that weighs 125 pounds. Now, granted, I could carry an armor that weighs 125 pounds. An average man can carry probably something like that on his shoulders and back. But that's probably all I could do. I don't claim to be a strong person, but I think I can lift 125 pounds and put it on my shoulders and maybe carry it like this. But you'd be walking like this. This guy's fighting in battle with his 125-pound armor on. Okay? He's not just packing this around. You go to Walmart and pick up a 48-pound bag of dog food. I'm not going to want to carry that very far. But I can't imagine carrying it into battle. I'm trying to carry a 50-pound bag into battle. It's not going to happen. So he's got this 125-pound armor on, okay? Then he's got this armor on his legs. And then beyond that, he has a shield, the Bible says. He has a shield, and there's two different types of shields. Number one, the shield that would be carried upon the left arm was more of a circular shield. And it was more where you could move around. You might watch Gladiator. A guy took that shield one time and knocked that guy in the head. He did. But anyway, that's how they fought back then. That shield could also not only protect you, but it could be a weapon. If you lost your sword, you could take that thing and you could, and it'd be sharp on the edge. It might even have a point in the middle, and you could just back somebody up with it. And that was one shield. But then he had a shield bearer, which another type of shield was more of an oblong shield. And this shield bearer would go with him wherever he went. And when it came battle time, his shield bearer would go out and boom, put that shield right there in front of him. Protect him from arrows, protect him from the enemy, something like that. So if you've got a lot of guys that's got shield bearers, and you're going to have a nice protection line right there. Okay? That's how they fought. Now I know it doesn't make sense to us today. We have airplanes, we have drones, and we have all kinds of guided missiles. That doesn't make sense to us today. But back then, this was the way that you fought. Okay? Very gruesome, very harsh way of fighting. But tell me a battle that isn't harsh and gruesome, regardless of what area you live in. Amen? It's just the way it is. That's the art of war. Now, it also talks about his javelin. It was an oversized javelin. Probably, in the studies that I've been in and went through, the javelin was about 15 feet long. Okay? It's 15 feet long, so it's even, it's over, this room is about 24 feet wide. Okay, so I think, is that right, Eugene? So, the spear it's a pretty long spear. So, then he has, besides his javelin, not the spear, but he has a javelin that's strapped on his back, and he has a spear. And the spear says, it says that the spear weighs about, the head of it alone weighs 17 pounds. Now, many of the men back then didn't fight with a sword, they fought with a spear. And they could hold it in there like this, they had that shield like that, and they would use it like a sword. Okay? So, first of all, I told you that you could get up next to Goliath like this, but wait a minute. He's got a javelin that's 15 feet long. So he's over against that wall, and I'm back here. Okay, then he's going to take that javelin, it's strapped between his shoulders, he can pull it out and throw it. Okay? Now, I don't know how I'm going to be able to take that kind of punishment if he throws a javelin at me. If I even have a shield, this guy that's 9.5 feet tall, I'm going to tell him how strong he is. He's going to hurl that javelin at me. If it doesn't miss me, then it comes against that shield. I don't even know if I can hold the shield strong enough to keep that javelin from knocking me down. Then he's got this spear. The head, the beam, the shaft like a weaver's beam, and it's like a big. You just have to see it. And then that head on that is 17 pounds. I don't know about you, but I can't imagine fighting with something that weighs 17 pounds. Well, Shannon, you're not very strong. Have you ever tried to? Anybody hear of a shot put back in school? How much does a shot put weigh? 8 pounds, thank you. Now, well, you throw it, don't you? Yeah, but I can't imagine fighting with it on the end of a beam. It's way out there. This spear is 17 pounds in weight. Yeah, we're over double, and it's way out there. So this guy's huge. This guy is strong. He is experienced, and there's no way, anywhere, shape, or form, I'm even going to get close to this guy. I don't even want to get close to